Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Becky Nakamura, and I am the owner operator of Waves of Ki Energy Work. I am a Reiki master, shamanic Reiki practitioner, and crystal singing bowl sound therapy practitioner. I know that for many of you, shamanic Reiki is a term that you've never heard before. Um, so I incorporate different shamanic tools in with my Reiki sessions, such as accessing your Akashic records based on the intention that you have brought into the session. Crystals, the native drum, rattles, tuning forks, and feathers. And I'm able to do sessions either in person or online, either through Zoom or through Skype. Being somewhere else in the world is not an issue. I have clients in Norway, Colombia, Vancouver, and here in Alberta, outside of the Calgary area. So the focus of these interviews is to introduce you to the different healing modalities that are available to you. Each person resonates with a different modality or different modalities and different energy workers. My dream is to see everyone becoming more aware, more empowered in their healing and their health and their well-being, whether it's through Reiki or uh, voice therapies, getting your working with voice and breath, Lomi Lomi shamanic coaching, breathwork, acupuncture, systemic constellation workshops, sound therapy. The list goes on and on. There are so many modalities out there and so many variations within those modalities. I just ask you to be open to listening to what is out there and what is available to you, and to be curious and try some of these different modalities, see what resonates with you, and if it can bring about more awareness, more uh, healing for yourself, then that is a plus. And sometimes the healing that you do, some modalities will resonate with you for a while, and then you move on to the next one. I find that for myself, depending on what I am wishing to address at that time, I have several different modalities or people that I know that are my group of healers that I will go see and have work done, because I understand that um, there are times when I need to uh, I'm not able to heal myself, and that I need to see someone else for that objectivity, detachment, in order for the healing to take effect. So my guest today is Sandy Dacey, and she is the owner, operator of Vocal Energies. So after completing studies at a performing arts school here in Calgary, Sandy's singing career included musical theater and touring bands for more than 25 years. And she continues to perform today. Sandy has a clear and heart-centered passion for voicing. As a voice and personal growth specialist, she has expanded into a sound wellness certification in sound healing and holistic voice coaching. Sandy shares simple techniques for greater voice confidence to help clients to embrace and engage in their unique vocal dynamics through speaking and singing. Thoughts, emotions, and intention are powerful. Through a unique approach, Sandy combines a mental, emotional, and spiritual body-mind approach to claiming or reclaiming your vocal energy. She has guided hundreds of voices to connect to their soul voice, to share on a stage or in their world. As well, she incorporates the modalities of Reiki, Psych K, and belief repatterning. Her vocal energy programs include offering her signature 3-level voice series, Play with Your Voice, and private voice and healing sessions. Sandy is a member of the emergent workforce for corporate sound wellness programs. She is a collaborator of the Spiritual Networking YYC team and is honored to assist those who seek to reconnect with their authentic sound. You can find her on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and we have provided the links or the names for them, as well as her webpage. So I have had the honor and the pleasure of knowing Sandy for the past year as a fellow collaborator of Spiritual Networking YYC. Her immense heart and compassion inspires me, and she is a strong role model of holding space, heart space for everyone she meets. And I love that so much about her. So thank you, Sandy, for joining us today.
My pleasure and honor, Becky. Thank you very much for having me.
So you've been singing from a very young age. So what drew you and continues to draw you to singing?
I think it's just simply part of my anatomy. And I say that as it's as intrinsic as my heart beating. That's it. It just has come out since I was 3 or 4 years old. I remember standing on the footstool in the middle of the living room, singing into my hairbrush. And I'm watching TV shows and just singing some of the theme songs. And that was where my career started, in my mind anyway. So when you ask about that, it's interesting. It's always been a part of me.
And that's when I hear you talk about that, it always being able to know from a very young age what feeds you, what makes your heart literally sing, what gives you, brings the passion up for you is being able to raise your voice in song. So were you also like in choirs, or how was this? Did you get more into singing publicly as you got older, or when did that all start?
Yeah, I would actually say in church as a teenager, that's when I think the next echelons of it came along, other than, singing for school assemblies and plays and things like that. And then from there, it was in my late teens that I auditioned for the Young Canadians of the Calgary Stampede. So that it is a performing group ages 5 to 19. So I was almost an old Canadian before I was a young Canadian. So anyway, I went through. It was really interesting for someone who loved to sing, but singing in front of people was a whole other thing. So after a nerve-wracking audition, I did get into the group and was with them for 4 years, and then moved on to musical theater, and then it was another 4 years or so before I actually went out on the road with a touring band. So that's kind of the trajectory.
So then how did that transition into becoming a voice coach and into the sound healing and the voice coach?
Well, it was interesting. It was very organic, actually. I just noticed over the years that sometimes as I grew as a vocalist, people would come up to me and say, I've never heard that song done quite that way before. I really enjoyed it. And it really reminded me of, a trek I did in Spain a few years ago. And it reminded me of all the feelings that I felt, the camaraderie with the people I was trekking with and that kind of thing. And I mean, I could have been singing Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams or something. I don't know. But, maybe it just reminded them of summer. But there was something else that was happening within me that started to translate through my voice and out to the audience. And then I would start to get this feedback. So I started to understand that there was an interesting connection between my growth as a vocalist and maturity and how it was being received. So I started to study that a little bit more, but the impact of voice on others. And I found I was interested in music therapy initially. And that was a degreed program with a 6-month practicum. And so it wasn't feasible in my life at that time, but I was ushered into the arena of sound therapy. So I thought, well, this would be interesting. So I learned more about that, and I became certified in that. And it was beautiful because then I was able to make the connections. Well, it wasn't until I came back from a touring segment of a group I was with at the time, and I realized it was time to stay home a little bit more often, and I wanted to give back to the community of Calgary that got me started on worldwide tours. So I just wanted to come home and serve others and help them find their voice with all the experience that I had gained. So it kind of all dovetailed into becoming a voice coach that had some sound therapy training. So I understood sound and the impact of it, so I could share that with my students as well as some techniques to help get them on their way.
So then, in regards to sound therapy, how does that, so just to give an idea for those of us who are not aware of all the benefits of sound therapy or how it does benefit us, could you maybe talk about that to give us a little more understanding?
Yeah, sure. So, and I know that you're a sound therapy practitioner as well. And so my experience of it, the way that I was trained, was through brainwave entrainment on a sound bed. So it's basically a massage table that has speakers underneath it, and we can choose I muscle test for using the brainwave state or tone, I guess, that produces the state that is in the client's best interest. And a lot of times what that does, it works at either a mental, emotional, or physical level. So we work with 3 particular brainwave states: alpha, theta, and delta. So the benefits of that in particular are it's very stress relieving. You don't have to be really thinking about anything in particular. Your body just naturally, your brain wants to create a binaural beat, which is a third tone that is heard through headphones, and it instantly brings your physiological system into either a mental calmness, an emotional calm, or a physical calm.
So depending on what determines then whether you do the mental or the emotional or the physical?
So I would muscle test a client. So
Okay.
basically, I don't know if you've done much muscle testing, but it's basically just through an extended arm and something that resonates with our systems, we will tend to have a yes answer or a no answer. And it makes it very simple, so we're able to choose which one is in the best and highest good of the client.
So that's what you ask, is whether it is a mental, whether you're working on the mental aspect or the emotional aspect. Do you ask it in that way, or how do you determine? Do you ask them an intention and then from there determine if it's through the mental or emotional or physical?
Actually, yeah, what I do is I'll just ask them some yes or no questions, and then kind of get a baseline for how their body is responding. And then I will mentally, because I wouldn't want to bias it. So I would just mentally ask, is it alpha, theta, or delta?
Okay.
And get the answer. And then if we needed a confirmation, I have each of those brainwave states written on a piece of paper, and then I would get the client to hold it in their other hand.
Oh.
And then we would muscle test so that neither of us knows what's, so it's a double blind kind of, test. And then we were able to determine which was in their best and highest good.
And that's a beautiful part to hear. Like, it isn't coming from ego, it's coming from within their inside knowing, their inner knowing of what it is that they need. So that is very beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah, the inner doctor.
Yes. So then from there, with the voice coaching, how does that help us to, what areas does that touch upon, or how does that help in our healing journey?
Well, the adding on the sound therapy can really help others to, if they're really feeling afraid to sing or afraid to speak in public, that kind of thing. A session like that complements a voice session. So it may not happen in the same session, but what oftentimes it's people that are looking to build their confidence or to heal from something that would do the sound therapy.
Yeah.
Now, when I first started doing the sound therapy and the voice coaching, it looked very different than it does now. And I say that because I've expanded into a sound wellness certification. So sound therapy is a part of the sound wellness program that I'm certified in now. And so there's a lot of voice, like healing with the voice, that I can do, as well as a traditional style voice program. So we work with the techniques of breathing and posture and projection, pitch, and placement. Those are kind of the 5 pillars of a voice session, or a series of sessions. And then if there is somehow a block comes up, or someone has a trauma that's triggered, we can either stop the session and do a healing with voice session, or we can set up another time. So the beautiful part of that, though, is that our voice is, we're walking around with it all the time. It's not like you have to, take it out of a case or go get it or whatever. So it's beautiful. It's with us. And our cells recognize the sound of our voice. So with intention, we can have motion, the energy in motion, and have that block start to move or dissipate with the sound of our own voices.
And what I'm also hearing is, sometimes we have issues with lack of self-confidence, or being able to speak up for ourselves. Your voice coaching could really help someone who is going through that to be able to find that voice and to be able to say what they need to say and to become more confident in what they have to express.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things as well that you can't really think your way through. You really need to be using your voice, whether it's to heal or to help express your message in a different way. So we not only look at the emotional intention of the message or the mental thoughts that can impact our vocal instrument, but we also look at the techniques anatomically that can help us to support our sound so that they're working together. The emotion and the positive mental thoughts and the physicality. So it all comes together for a greater understanding and awareness of what's happening within.
Oh dear, have we froze? Message. Okay, Sandy. So, in regards to, talking about some of the things that Sandy is offering in her practice. It would from what I am hearing is that sometimes we as we go through sometimes some very traumatic times in our life that we aren't able to talk about. And after a while, our throat closes off and we have problems expressing not just the trauma that we have encountered, but there is, we end up just not being able to speak of a lot of things, because by shutting that one part down, it's sometimes other parts shut down as well. So Sandy is, through her work, she would be able to help to heal that inability, or help you to, not necessarily to heal you, but help you to heal, be an instrument in a way of your healing by releasing that blockage that is there, and the energy that is stuck in your throat chakra, and being able to express it. I'm wondering if Sandy maybe should go on her phone and try connecting, or maybe it's just that she has issues with her internet, period. Let me see if I can go and send her a quick message, because I was hoping that she would have connected by now.
Did that work, Becky? I just logged out and came back in. Did that
Well,
work?
I'm glad that you're able to get to hear. It's just, I guess Sandy seems to, I have lost her. Well, you can hear Sandy and I can't?
I just
So it's
came
my
back
end.
in.
Okay, I wonder if I need to go out and come back in. Okay, I'm going to try
Thanks,
going out
Laura.
and coming back.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure if we're still live. Lana, I'm not sure if you can hear me or not, or see me. But if you can, maybe send a note, and I will wait till Becky comes back in. This is a beautiful conversation. I so appreciate Becky inviting me to be a part of this. There's just so many aspects of voice that people don't necessarily realize are even happening. So that was why I just came into this very organically, and I'm thrilled that I did. It was quite pivotal, actually, when I realized how much of my maturity in my voice was affecting others, and so others have been learning from me that any changes and healing that they go through starts to impact their voice and the way that they are heard, and it really helps to just kind of dissolve a lot of pain and challenge, and opens things up in ways that oftentimes people don't, they're not expecting. So it creates a freedom and a liberty. And as Becky was mentioning about the throat chakra, and that it really opens up. So, and it starts to affect other chakras as well. So that's the beautiful part of the opening up part. The there are many ways to do this. The healing with voice is one aspect of it, and then another is using song to help loosen things up. Also, singing is very playful, and it releases some beautiful hormones that a lot of people don't even realize are even a part of how what the impact physiologically is of their sound. So it really works both ways. It works with your body, and then it also works with your emotion, and it works back and forth. So it's the voice can heal the body, and the body can help support the voice. So it's a beautiful synergy. Have we got you back, Becky?
I know. I thought it was you that left and it was me that left. So that was interesting. So I guess I was just talking to myself.
Well, I know I was hearing you. I guess you were maybe
you were
thinking
hearing me. Okay.
I was frozen, or I'm not sure. But then, then you left, and I thought, okay, well, I'll just start sharing a few things based on what you had just asked me. But thank you.
I was just saying, and what I was maybe talking about to myself was that, and maybe I'm repeating myself about how we have maybe gone through traumatic events in our lives that we feel we can't talk about, whether through being embarrassed or shame or whatever. And by stopping ourselves from talking about that, sometimes it leads to not being able to speak about so many things and being unable to express who we are, because we have just shut down that our throat chakra. We just said nope. We don't feel that we sometimes have validity, or that we have the right to speak. And by taking your course, by taking your program, we are not only able to learn how to sing and to use our voice, but also we are giving ourselves permission to use our voice and to express and to maybe speak about some of those things that we have repressed for so long, so that it can come out. And by coming out, we can release it and heal. So, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was sharing as well, is that the voice itself can help heal the body, and the body can support the sound of the voice. So there's a beautiful synergy that happens there. And a lot of times, the Play with Your Voice series is that it can go quite deep with the 3 different levels. But the playfulness is something that I was sharing while we were waiting for us to connect again on this call. But the beauty of it is that it is playful, and there are hormones that are released, especially in the group series, where there's oxytocin and dopamine and endorphins and serotonin, beautiful hormones that are released that really help us to heal even more deeply, as well as it just feels good, right? It's fun to just play. So that's the other side of it. And then if something more delicate is required or more sensitive, then we can have a one-on-one session where we can give a voice to the pain, give a voice to, that repressed emotion, because again, emotion, energy in motion. So we want to try and see if we can get it moving a little bit and give it a voice. So if we had to sound, feel into our bodies, do a scan and find out where that pain is, and then give a sound to that particular challenge or pain, trauma, whatever that looks like, then we're able to give it some momentum to move and shift. And then the liberty comes from the shifting and the clearing of the block.
Have you found times in your life when you have, because of your work with the voice and being able to, by doing it, not keeping the emotion down, but allowing the emotion to come up. Have you found that there are instances in life where you have been able to use this for your own benefit, for your own healing?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's very interesting. I mean, and I'm an empath as well, so that's something else that, comes up whether I'm taking on someone else's energy or it's my own. I try and discern that as well. But yes, if I'm, feeling the need to just release with some tears, then I'll let that happen. I call it the power of the pause, where I can just navigate a moment and then take a centering breath and come back and then talk, speak through my heart or sing through my heart.
Right.
There's been a couple of times too when I've been singing, when I've been just overcome. It was many years ago when I lost my mom, and it was astounding to me that it just hit me mid-song, and I had a golf ball in my throat, and it was difficult for me to move through it. And I hadn't done any of the sound therapy training at that time, but I just stopped. And the musicians, I just shared with them through my eyes that I just needed a moment. And if it took 60 seconds, I was going to take that 60 seconds, which it didn't.
Honoring yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just was taking those centering breaths and just moving my way through it. But it ended up being something that was very relatable to a few people in the audience. And it ended up being a shared experience. So that's
a healing moment for everybody, for the audience as well as yourself. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Because there was, and even people who didn't know me, were wondering, what was happening, in the song. And I was just taking that time. And I think after several seconds, you could tell there was something happening, and I had to regroup before I was able to continue. So the beauty of that is, as well, is even before, like I said, even before the training that I had that intuitiveness. So it ended up being something that people could see that it's okay, that they're, that regardless, whether I was going to be fired or the band was going to fire me or whatever, it didn't matter, because I had to take that moment, and they were witness to it. So it was, really quite something. And it has happened since as well. And it's been wonderful to really walk my own talk and take my own advice.
And as well, it's your courage of being willing to be vulnerable. I feel that also touches people, because in our society, vulnerability isn't prized, or it isn't. I shouldn't say it isn't prized. Vulnerability is something we hide, is something we keep inside of ourselves, like tightly locked up. So for so many people, because it's like, well, I don't want to be embarrassed, or I don't want people to see me as being supposedly less than, which that isn't the case at all, but that is sometimes how they perceive that. Or I don't want people taking advantage of me because of my vulnerability, or there's just like so many different reasons. So when somebody has the courage to be vulnerable, that is like a gift that we give to other people. Showing
Absolutely.
that it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And once you've gone through it in a big way, once or twice or 20 times, then you realize that it's not a less than or more than. It just is. And it is a beautiful experience once you get on the other side.
Yes. Yes.
Going through it is it's an uncomfortable invitation, but sometimes you've just got to go through the eye of the storm to really experience the liberty on the other side.
And that is so much the case. It's and not only that, but I find as well, you are, by giving yourself permission to be vulnerable, you are also empowering yourself. It's like I survived that, and I'm still here, and I'm still okay. So then it's like, yeah, being vulnerable is not a scary thing. Being vulnerable is, I survive it. So, it's like what keeps me from allowing myself to be vulnerable again at another time. So,
Exactly. And it also, brings up the feeling of safety and, security, and that sometimes, sessions are even, I consider them sacred, and I let my clients know that this is a sacred space that is being held. Or, even in something, a situation or a session that wasn't necessarily meant to be, sometimes sensitivities can just come up, and I remind them, that they are in a safe, sacred space. And I can feel that for them to have even let down their guard and really been vulnerable, that they must have felt that. They must have felt safe enough that now was the time, or whatever, whatever prompted it. So
yeah.
yeah, so that's yeah, exactly. Thank you for bringing up that point, because vulnerability for sure is a huge part of it. And when the
And it,
student is
it
ready, the
allows
teacher
you to heal.
appears.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So with your program, you said here that you have three signature 3-level voice series. What is this signature 3-level voice series
Okay, so this
all
is
about?
this is yeah, the premier, the kind of the major programs that I
Mhm.
offer.
Yep.
And really it was just simply born of three different levels that one can take their voice experience, their voice exploration. And so the first one is lovingly called Petrified to Party. So that's for anyone that's interested in really, moving through their fears, in a 5-week series, and helps them to understand a little bit about, as I mentioned, the pillars. So the techniques that are involved, the breathing and posture and projection, and there's two others, and then move into a place where they can actually apply what they're learning, the techniques, to a
Mhm.
song. So
Oh.
we go through a series of warm-ups and helping to integrate. So the warm-ups will include, some breath work, and as
Mhm.
it relates to a singer or a speaker. And then we'll move into something around posture for the next session, and something around projection, where they're understanding more about their core being the party room, the living room, that helps to provide the support for our sound. This is
Yep.
just a little cupboard, really, with a little harp in it. So this isn't where all the work is done. The work is done with the rest of the body. So through a series of learning the techniques and then applying them to a warm-up song, and then applying them to a song that they bring. And if they so choose to sing a part of that song, then they can do their own work at home, continue to apply, and then come back the next week. So it builds over the 5 weeks. For the first session, as does the second one. And the second one is Party to Public. So that's more where you're actually singing out loud around the happy birthday cake, or you're actually singing Jingle Bells, or, around the Christmas piano,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. So it really helps people to, now I'm not just mouthing the words when I'm in public, I'm actually singing along, right? And feeling good with that.
Mhm.
They're feeling better. And then the third level is public to performance. So that takes it to a whole other level, and that's a 12-week series where we navigate the many different layers of performance. And so now they've got their understanding of the pillars. The second level also incorporates a deeper dive into emotion, mental, and physical impact of our voice, and how it affects our voice. So taking all that and then going to the third level, learning about movement, if you're doing a presentation, or if you're on stage, microphone techniques, understanding content as well, if you're putting together a talk, or choosing the right songs for the specific audience. And then I supply actually an experience for them in a theater to be able to do their thing. So yeah, that's
Wow.
basically what the 3 levels are of the Play with Your Voice series.
That sounds like fun. I wish I had known about your program before so when I first started, I was doing some teaching, and having to get up in front of a classroom was so stressful. And until then, I really didn't do much in the way of public speaking. That was always something that I left for others to do. And when I decided to do some public speaking, suddenly there was just getting over that comfort level, because I'm like most people. I got up there and my brain was no longer attached, or my throat was no longer attached to my brain, and it was no longer attached to my heart, and I was talking and very stilted and very very much like a robot in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And did not allow my heart to be shown, did not really allow my brain to be, or my thoughts to have a conversation. It was more of, I got this memorized and this is what I talk about. Don't interrupt me, because then I'm going to lose my train of thought. All of that. It was like, yes.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Oh. And so how did you navigate that?
How did I navigate that? Not well.
Not well. You just kept throwing yourself into the deep end with one water wing.
Yeah, and that was pretty well lit. It was like, okay, I know I'm not comfortable doing it, so I need to keep practicing so that I become comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So the introductions that I did sometimes of our guests when we have our spiritual networking YYC luncheons
Mm-hmm.
was one of the ways that I worked through that. And for those of you who have watched some of the earlier Thursday afternoon videos, it was a learning process. So
Mm-hmm.
I've become more comfortable with it now, and it's like, okay, this is who I am, and but I get to have all these wonderful guests on my show now, and being able to learn from them.
Beautiful.
What they're doing, and being able to let those people who are interested in healing themselves, who want to become healthier, as to what modalities are out there, what opportunities there are in order to heal. So,
well, thank you for moving through your own vulnerability to really present yourself now in this way. And it's getting, as you say, it feels better and better and easier and easier. And that is a huge part of it, is that it's not about perfection. It's about the best you can be in that given moment, right? So moving through your own vulnerability and coming through the other side, and we're always still learning, for sure. It's but you're also helping give others a chance to share some of the things that they do that can help.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And serve. So what a beautiful thing that you have moved through, and now you can share with others. I just want to acknowledge you for that, Becky.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. And you're welcome to come to any of my programs anyway. So if you'd like to, still kind of, navigate maybe the fight, flight, or freeze, syndrome, if ever it happens again, because it is actually something physiological that happens when you move into that that deer in the
Yes.
headlights sort of,
Yeah.
feeling.
It's like the
And
heart closes in, the throat closes up, and it's like, ah,
and fight,
and the brain
flight, or
stops working.
freeze exactly is not about thinking. It's about running. Or, if I, freeze, then I'll be okay. Or
Yeah.
whatever, right? Or if I start duking it out, then I'll at least have a shot at survival. So really, it is a very primal brain state. So you came by it very honestly. Well, I'm glad you're not there now. It's beautiful. That's awesome.
I've gotten to the point where I've just go, this is just me in all of when it flows, when it doesn't flow, whatever. It's like my connection suddenly disappearing. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I better just fiddle around and get back on it. Don't let myself get too stressed about it and just get back on.
Good for you. Exactly. I know. I think it was a cosmic pause for some reason. I think it's your magnetic personality. I really do. Just
Thank you
glitch
so much,
something out.
It's spirit going, okay, let's see how well you handle this.
Yeah, surprise. Teaching moment. Okay.
That's right. That's right. Staying in it. So you also, because I've seen you at some of Joanne's, the Fabulous 50 events that she holds.
Mm-hmm.
You have your music there and you sing songs. You have sometimes other people get up and join you. Is this what you were talking about in regards to what for clients giving them the opportunity to sing publicly?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it is that's just a fun sing along kind of thing, right? So that people, can free their voice and just, not feel singled out, that everybody can, sing along kind of thing. But no, in the third level, it would be custom to that individual. So with each person, I would set up a separate event for. And there would actually be people coming to a theater to experience whatever the offering was, the goal of the student. That would be the the kind of final sort of expression for that series. And then they could move on to
oh, sorry.
Oh, this is funny. What do you do, right? I've had this happen many times on stage. The power goes out, or a musician breaks, 3 strings on his guitar, something. It's all good. So then you just got to ad lib as you go along.
The pitfalls of technology.
I know.
Oh, so Amika's wondering if you would like to do a piece today. Would you like to sing something for us today?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as you can hear me okay through this little microphone, that's fine.
I think we would be able to hear you. It would be lovely to hear you sing something, Sandy.
Well, absolutely. I just wondered, did you want to just capture the last of that question? So you were wondering about customized, like for me to create a customized performing experience for a client.
So is that more of that it's like almost like a private function? So it's friends and families and family is invited to come and listen. Is that what it is?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and my client can invite whoever they want. I just need to know the number of people so that I get the right venue, and then we go from there. Wow. So that they have their own experience with whatever they have been working towards, so that they can finally have the freedom to share it.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, they can move around on stage and they can learn about mic technique and that kind of thing. So
wow,
that's what that.
So do they sing more like 1 or 2 songs, or how does that work?
So it depends on what they're looking to do, but I would so, like for yourself, if you sang a song or you did a talk, how long would be ideal before, it was just maybe a little too much too soon, kind of thing, right? So whether it's one song, whether it's 4 songs, whether it's a half hour, 40 minutes, I would set it up. Same with a talk. If somebody wanted to speak for 5 minutes or for 15, etc., then I would accommodate. So it would be very custom to the individual.
Nice. That is interesting to hear, and also it's a goal, I guess, for somebody who went onto the 3rd level. It is almost like a goal of, yes, I want to be able to become comfortable enough that I can do this, where I am allowing myself to, because sometimes it's harder to be vulnerable with friends and family more than it is with strangers, right? So
absolutely. Yeah, it's really something, because you it feels like you have more to lose, by performing in front of friends and family for whatever reason. And it's almost the opposite, right? They'll love you just for breathing, just for standing there breathing, they just, people, family and friends love us. So, but absolutely, it's one of those things. And going through the whole process, the level 2 is a prerequisite to level 3, and level 1 is prerequisite to level 2. So it builds. That's the design of that particular program, is that it builds on itself.
Well, so I would like, if you would like to sing, or if you would do, give us the pleasure of hearing you sing a song.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Well, one of my all-time favorites is Natalie Cole. And I don't know if you're a fan, but I think you might know the song I'll be singing. But so I'll just launch in. I'm trying to think to begin. Unforgettable. That's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far, like a song of love that clings to me. How the thought of you does things to me never before. Has someone been more unforgettable in every way, and forevermore? That's how you'll stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
So welcome. So welcome. That's the voice of my heart. So thank you for allowing me to share it.
Well, that was beautiful. I know my parents were a huge fan of Nat King Cole.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. That was the original artist, Natalie's dad.
And yeah, I love that song. It is.
Thank you, Amika.
And Lona says, Sandy's voice gives me goosebumps.
Aw. Thank you, Lana. Oh, that's so sweet. I'm glad. I hope it touched your heart.
It did. It touched mine huge time. It was like this fullness just welled up inside my heart. It was lovely.
Good.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for asking.
So you, just to bring things around, to kind of pull things all together, you, in our spiritual networking YYC introductions, you have this beautiful little tagline that you give, and I would love it if you would share it with those who are listening, because when I hear it, it makes me smile, and it also just intrigues me. I just love it.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well, my introduction is my name is Sandy Dacey, and I'm a holistic voice coach that can help you sing better in the shower and in your world.
Because that's for a lot of us, that's the place we're comfortable singing, is in the shower, and that's it. It's like, don't expect this to happen outside of the shower.
Exactly. Right, and that's the goal, right? Is to go, from the shower to the world. So yeah, it really is it's a fun way of connecting to something relatable to people. That there's people often will sing, in the shower, and as soon as that shower curtain comes across, then it's almost like, okay, that's it, that's where it stays. It's like Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in the shower stays in the shower.
That's right.
So I help to build bridges so people can actually open the bathroom door and then carry on into their lives with this beautiful, richness of their sound.
And I think it's almost taking and using that analogy to just their light, their authenticity, their whole of who they are, to as opposed to just keeping it here in that small space, to bring it out to the world.
That's a beautiful analogy, and that's exactly the intention, for sure.
Yes,
is to make the room bigger and bigger and bigger, that they're able to let their light shine.
Yes,
and reclaim
you sound like
their
you
voice.
can do it. Yes.
Yeah. 5 easy steps.
That's right. You help them to go and bring who they are out into the world, and that's a gift, Sandy. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
So much for that.
Yeah, I can't not do it. I have to. It's a part of why it is my purpose. It is my purpose for this lifetime.
And you do it beautifully. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Your thoughtfulness and your warmth, and I love the lilt in your voice. It's like, it just, when I think of it, I'm like, yes, this is bringing that into the world, and meeting people with that warmth and that happiness. It brings them up as well. And I thank you for that, Sandy.
I appreciate your feedback, and you're more than welcome. Thank you for you.
So today's guest, in case if you have just joined us, you can catch a copy or a replay of this interview on the podcast. We have podcasts, so you could watch it over again. And I would like, at some future event, because I know you're also doing or you are offering, I don't know if you're doing that many of them right now, but you do driveway concerts, or I saw that on your Facebook.
Yeah,
so
my band and I. Yeah, it's been great. we just wanted to bring music back to the community and still stay within,
The social distancing.
exactly the pandemic, guidelines. And we're now in phase 2. So it's great. So yeah, it's worked out really well. We just have an agreement, and understanding with the host, and keep it, to 100 people at this point. And it's been fantastic. Fantastic. It's people have just come alive right in front of your eyes, and they're toe tapping or they're dancing in the street or whatever. It's just this effervescence that reminds people of summer.
So there you go. If you are interested in having a driveway concert in your neighborhood, get in touch with Sandy and have her and her band come out and give a performance, and people can be dancing in the street and on the sidewalks and just having a beautiful time listening to music and socializing but having that distance as well. So yes.
Yeah, and just being invigorated again. We've been inside for so long. It's time to come out and let the fresh air kind of permeate in through the musical notes. And I'm also doing a Play with Your Voice series coming up in July, and it'll be an online series. And then I have another one coming up in the fall, in probably September is when I'm starting another one. So.
Well, maybe I'll have to have you come back again later in the summer, and you can talk about how the one went in July and what we can look forward to the one that's coming up in September.
Great. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your support, Becky. Thanks, Amika.
It's our pleasure. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. I think that Sandy has given us a lot of, I don't know if I would say food for thought. It would be more of inspiration for letting our hearts and ourselves come out in song, through our talking, through our speech, allowing those parts of us that need to heal to be spoken about, and to just be recognized, and then because we have recognized it, to start healing. So every Thursday at 1:30, I am here with another guest, and it is all I would say probably is going to be at least 95% of my guests are healing practitioners of one modality or another. And we would love to see you come back again. Again, we have the podcasts. So at Wavesofki podcasts, you could go to my website, and on the blog, I have copies as well. And then on my Facebook, you could also go back and see some of the earlier interviews that I have done. So until next Thursday, thank you and be well. Oh.
Namaste. Thank you.